Alright, finally able to get some streaming in. Um, as per usual, I've changed my build like 3 times since the last time I streamed. Um, but this build that I have going is more of a pet project. Um, I am historically a big fan of spin to win builds. Um, I tried to use the monk spin move and it just felt very clunky and it did not feel like I could control the pathing correctly with mouse and keyboard. So I gave up on it, but when I finally hit the level to be able to get the final rune on uh, Spiral Volley from Ranger or whatever it is, I was like, man, even though I'm halfway into another build, I'm just gonna stop and mess with this. So I did, and I was pretty pleasantly surprised. The single target damage is not quite as good as the clear speed, but the clear speed is amazing. And the best part about it is that it doesn't take a lot of skill to play. Like, it's really just an easy mode. So if you're just, got off work wanting to chill, but you want to grind, I mean, this might be the build for you. I've got a couple things going. I bought all these pieces of gear for this build for 1 Exalt a piece. And actually, I bought all the pieces for this at level 52 for 1 Exalt a piece, and then I just re-geared a couple pieces, including this pretty little bow, and I was able to sell my old pieces for 5 Exalt, so that was actually really awesome. I am testing currently this chest. It hypothetically should be incredible on this build. Iron Will increases 1% increased projectile attack damage per 2 strength. It does take away the strength benefit for life, so I did drop 300 points of life, because right now I'm sitting at 150 strength. I'm not sure how the math on this is applying to my skill. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. I'm probably going to report it as a bug, because 1% increase per 2 strength, 150 strength, that should be a 75% increase. That's what my brain's telling me, at least. And it says specifically projectile attack damage, and when I go over to I'll just use my basic projectile attack, take that off. I mean, when I did the math a couple times, I got a 0.9, so a 9% increase in damage. I don't know where the calculation is coming in as far as the breakdown of all the stuff when it comes to the bow. I got physical, 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 physical. Got tons of physical buffs, and actually that part of the build guide is that those are your main goals. You need physical on all these things at as high a rate you could get when you get Spiral Volley. I do the physical thing because especially if you're using this and sacrificing some health, the leech, and I got rid of the leech on here because I didn't seem to need it anymore. The combo there and then some in the tree seem to be really good sustain. So I'm still a little bit curious where along the line that buff from this is getting factored in. Now that I just finished the in-game, I'm probably going to have to replace this with a very defensive chest to shear up these really bad resistances so I can start mapping with the build. Anyway, I'll kind of go through it a little bit. You can pause the video. I'm just going to hover over each piece of gear. Um, they're all pretty self-explanatory. Once I show you my tree, I'll get into this specifically, um, this unique soon. Uh, but one of the biggest goals here is to first off get physical on everything, increase your damage. You could do an elemental version of this build. It would have less sustain, and it would be less. It'd be more erratic, I think. But totally doable. I've just been focusing on physical builds because I like it. I like the way it interacts with Leech. I like the fact that um, focusing on physical has allowed me the really important thing of being able to do things like increased physical damage. And now I can wield a mace, a bow, a quarterstaff, whatever I want, and this is still going to apply. This is still going to apply. 18, 18, 18. And you may be wondering, why the heck are you playing a Titan with bow skills? Well, I mean, literally, this is the reason I'm playing Titan, right here. 50% increase of small passive skills. I mean, my plan is to take Titan, and I'm going to go everywhere with it. I'm going to try a Titan Summoner, I'm going to try a Titan Mage, I'm going to try a Titan... I've already done Titan Monk, and it was wonderful. Titan Bow User is what I'm on right now. Right now, I am... But one of the cool things I'm doing, or I think it's cool, is the Jack of all trades. Since I switch up my build so much, I was like realizing I was dumping stats and increasing stats and dumping stats, and I was just like, man, the amount of trade-off that I get for trying to stack one, stat, when I can just have this and have my stats be like this. So I can equip any gem in the game. I can equip. Maybe there might be a little bit. There might be a couple things, but with one item change, I can guarantee. I think I can equip any gem in the game, any skill, whatever, with whatever sockets and whatnot. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty confident. And so I can just switch my build up as much as I want, and it's really nice. One of the things I was sleeping on was weapon sets. So my bow, I get these projectile nodes, and then I path here, but on my, let's see, on my other weapon set, I get these. I wasn't needing these at first with Spiral Volley. This whole chain I was using just with my just with my melee setup, but I got rid of all those and picked up these for the bow setup, and then I realized that once I did that Spiral Volley does eat up quite a bit of mana. I didn't realize how much using my life was cutting it down, so then I just went halfway in here, and now it's really easy to keep it up with flasks. You could go into these, and you pretty much, if you're into those, you pretty much don't even have to flask your passive mana regeneration if you have this exact setup. And passive life from Leech Gear, it's enough to just sustain you, and you don't have to pay attention, you don't have to flask, you're fine. That could be a possible, that's probably the future. Next thing I'm trying to get over is the 10% attributes. That'll be a nice little boost. I'm probably going to try and grab one of the Radius Jewels. I haven't got to test that yet. I'm going to make a video about that because I feel like people don't know about that. Also, I want to touch on the fact that I have this node allocated on my amulet. So if you haven't messed with allocations yet, definitely give that a Google. But the quick and dirty is go on the trade channel, go to filters, and type allocate into the filter, and it's going to say allocate number, and you can, I don't know a way to sort them, but I just sorted my amulet by stats that I needed, and it cut it down from 10,000 to like 25 amulets to choose from, and I found one that pertained to me. You can get any of these notables, but the mats to get them are ridiculous. The node that I want, if you're rich and you're doing this build, well, eventually I want this, but the reason I wanted this was before Spiral Volley. I just wanted that attack speed because I'm stat stacking, and it would be great. But in this build, Spiral Volley is going to take 0.4 seconds no matter what to spin, so I don't know the math on how much increases in attack speed would help. So, that's kind of why I didn't mind reducing my attack speed a bit. I actually have some attack speed gains in there that offset it all the way and more, but one of the other cool things I was able to pick up was changing the evasion rating to armor. It's just more, I mean, you don't have to do that. Evasion's okay, but I don't like evasion. I don't like things that rely so heavily on RNG. I really just like to have that flat damage cut. 20% of life leech is instant is something I'm really fond of. I originally wanted to take this, and I decided not to. I might test that in the future. One of the things I want to get to and test with is, I didn't know this existed, but gaining bonuses from the quivers. So, like, normally these bonuses are, 22%, 22%. Yeah, because of the Titan's hulking form, this is crazy. This is I think 105% increase to your quivers bonuses. Yeah, that's my next goal right there. I do not know. I wish I had the currency to just willy-nilly pull all this out, path over to here, and see, because this is about a 200% damage increase, and this is a 100, but it's 100. It's 100 specifically to doubling your quiver, and the more increases you have, like these and these, the worse those get. And this just being its own multiplier makes me think that this isn't really giving me 200% increased damage. This will basically give me 100% of that damage, and I mean, 12 to 22, when I pull the trigger on that, I'm going to get a quiver that has the absolute highest damage numbers I can possibly get on this. And projectile skills, like, if I can get a quiver with multiple ranks of projectile skills and double that, is that a bonus? I'm going to have to test that. That would be very cool if it was. But it says, let's see, let me read the verbiage on that real quick before I get too excited. I was late whenever I found this last night. Increase bonuses. So, I mean, are all of these bonuses? It doesn't say the stats, it just says bonuses. So, a cool thing would be, like, some of these innate passive, doubling them could be extremely powerful for certain builds. Anyway, that's my next voyage. One of the biggest things that makes Spiral Volley tick, though, is frenzy charges. So we're going to pop over here to Combat Frenzy. Gain a frenzy charge when you freeze, electrocute, pin. Well, we are not freezing and electrocuting, but we are pinning. How we're pinning is what I talked about earlier. Going back to these, physical damage is pinning. The amount of physical damage we do, I don't think that this is balanced, because most builds aren't fully physical. So I am spinning, and the first spin pins everything, and then the second spin, if there's, however many people, the first spin gains me that many charges, and then if you've read Spiral Volley, 100% more damage if a frenzy charge was consumed, 20% more damage per consumed. So you're talking about a skill that's hitting for per use 6k. If you use 5 charges, you're seeing the math here. It's pretty crazy. So the clear is crazy. Now, how do we solve single target DPS? Well, I'm glad you asked. Tornado shot helps a ton. It makes a little tornado. Projectiles that hit it get copied and shot out. So extra ones that miss people can get caught in this and get shot at nearby enemies. That's great. It does its own DPS as well, 120%, so or 149%. So that's not even bad by itself. I've got the thing to where I get 2 additional projectiles. This is more of a quality of life thing. I get 3 tornadoes, but only 2 of them stay, because you have the limit of 1, and then I have +1 to the limit. I was looking in the tree to try to get, or somewhere to try to get another +1 to limit, so that I would just get the 3. I think that would be crazy cool. And then the damage of this, I get a little boost from power charges, because I really like Lingering Illusion. I was using this on the monk before, or the monk build I had before, and I didn't want to get rid of it because I really, really like dodge rolling for fluidity, and every time I dodge roll, I leave one of these dudes, and every time it gets killed, I get a power charge. So that's really nice. I almost wish, I'm eventually going to try to build Genuine Legionnaire, because I would love to be able to have grants a different additional charge on this and this. But anyway, the other cool thing is that I'm built into things bouncing off of terrain. So I think it's in Spiral Volley itself. Yeah, for chain an additional time from terrain. So when you fire off the Spiral Volley, like 1 arrow, you're getting 0.4 extra seconds to attack time, and you're hitting an enemy with 1 arrow. That's not very good, even with the damage boosts. But if you're shooting that out and you're getting an arrow from this, an arrow from tornado shot, an arrow from the other tornado shot, and 2 arrows from the wall ricochet, and all those land on a boss, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. This is mostly just a really fun playstyle. I'm very squishy right now, so there's a chance that I just walk out here and instantly die, but I just love the playstyle of just, usually I just hold it down and dodge roll, and you can cancel the attack animation if you'd like. One of the other cool things is it doesn't give a shit about a lot of the different terrain type stuff. So like things won't even be able to hit you off the screen, and they are dead. So it's just really neat. I also am using one little skeleton brute as a little bit of a damage lightning rod. I had more. I had a whole army with a chest that had spirit on it, and I got a little spirit here. I had a whole army. That is definitely an option with this build because you do have the intelligence to do it, and just having a bunch of meat shields. I think I had a couple skeletons, a brute, and a healer, and there are different combinations you can do with that. Also worth noting, barrage is kind of cool with tornado shot just for a little extra DPS on it. So you'll click that and shoot it down in there, and then you just shoot, and yeah, it was like at least a blue in that pack, and instantly melted. So I mean, you'll notice that these guys get little things over their head, and that is because I do still have Staggering Palm equipped. When I'm boss fighting, I have my secondary weapon as a quarterstaff, and the reason for that is, well, if stuff gets too close to my face and I can't, like, it isn't being stopped, isn't being pinned, whatever, I can flip to the quarterstaff and use my tech from my previous build and just knock it back, which is nice. Knockback is great, but also the Staggering Palm will give me charges for Tempest Spell, and with all that stuff with the tornadoes and all the ricochets, Tempest Spell gets hit a lot. So you can flop that What I usually do is I usually throw it in a boss fight. I'll throw down my thing. I'll shoot out my arrows, get a bunch of arrows on it. The boss is about to get staggered. He'll get a little thing over his head. I'll Exploding Palm punch him. It will stun him. And then I will hit him 3 more times with Staggering Palm to activate Tempest Spell, slam Tempest Spell, pop Barrage, pop Tornado Shot, and go to town. And the amount of DPS that does is just sick. So, kind of a weird setup. You'll notice I have Frost Wall. This is just a no shit button. I've got some stuff specced into it, but also, like, it is worth noting that you can explode a lot of this really easy with Tornado Shot. So there is something to be said about the raw just damage increase of just blowing that up on people. It's kind of interesting. I actually only put this on because I wanted to test the damage increase of Iron Will. Increases 1% spell damage for 2 strength you have. So it's doing both these, but I didn't have any spell damage, so I wanted to try to get a spell damage skill on my bar that would pertain to the build, and that was the first one that came to mind. I've got some runes in it that make it go in a circle and then make more of them, so it's just a giant wall. I think you can technically, because of how I have it spec'd, put it on yourself. Yeah, so you can just be inside this bad boy and spin around. So it's kind of a neat little fantasy, putting that around you and then just exploding it. Kind of cool. But yeah, so I guess I'll just go over and kind of show you. A lot of times I just have these gems in things to have them available and not have them in my inventory so I can switch them out for fights if I need. I don't even have the skill on my bar, but I have these in here because For instance, concentrated effect damage boost is really, really strong with Wind Blast, but I like the range of Wind Blast, so I don't like to do that unless I'm boss fighting. I like to have more area of effect, attack speed. I still have to test how attack speed really affects Spiral Volley, but I mean, it's pretty quick. I don't know if it'll get quicker with attack speed because of the way that it's worded with just adding the 24 seconds. So I'll mess with that at some point and post the results, but this is amazing. I am losing a tiny bit of fire damage by having this, but I realized that a lot of the buffs to skill damage skills are only for melee, and so I had to go with that one. Get the cooldown, low cast speed, longer little guys, maximum physical damage, spell, things close to it are getting more damage. I did give it a cooldown, 10 seconds, because I will never use it more soon than that. Get these guys, little tanky boys, could not die. I say guys, but I no longer have the spirit to have two of them at the moment. Staggering Palm. It heavy stuns, like that is what it does. So just getting an aftershock of that damage. The damage isn't negligible, so it's nice. And I don't do this often, so it's always going to be a crit. And then it can fully break armor when it heavy stuns. So there is some utility here for boss fights as well, or just in general if you're good enough or want to, the content's hard enough and you want to weave this better in, because you will notice when I get mobbed that you will see the little debuff popping up over their head almost instantly. If they don't die instantly, that right there. So the combo would look something like. Oops. Well, of course I say I'm gonna do a combo and I'm gonna take off the yeah. Eventually somebody's not gonna die or before I accidentally cast it twice. And that'll be fine. Right there. Not well. And I'm trigger happy. Bad example. Heavy stuff. So technically when I do that, it activates the buff of Staggering Palm. So now what that buff does is actually allows extra projectiles from the Staggering Palm, so there's just a tiny bit little extra damage when you're bossing. Or fighting in general, I guess, if the content's hard enough. You will notice that little guy really attracts attention, which I love. So anyway, I think that's about it. If you have any questions about it, you know, I'm always willing to answer questions. Look at the passive tree. Take a screenshot of that and do it. There's really cool notes over here, but I don't think I'll be able to get there. But you could hypothetically pull out of this side lots of damage to go over here and get some cool ass shit like 60% attack, projectile speed, and reductions apply to damage with bows. That just seems dumb. That just seems super dumb. I honestly would probably get that, except for all of these are over 100 exalt a piece to put on your amulet, so that ain't gonna happen. You guys are gonna get to see me fall on my face here because I thought this was gonna be the raw glitch. See, now it'll shoot out these little waves, so there's a little extra damage there. But very much not needed damage. But everything's everything. So I like very specifically remember doing the that's not what I want. Sorry, I forget what the word is. I'm totally blind. Which is still doable, and yet I like have memory of doing it. But I'll check that out and see. Something if it's not done that I need to get done, but honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do it. She's a really hard fight, in my opinion. But I've always been melee fighting her, so we shall see if it matters that I'm not melee. Loving that I'm no longer really having mana problems.
Sickening rituals.
There's really no idea what this is. This is ritual good.
The children, they whisper. They cry for help.
Okay. I don't remember what that quest was, to be honest.
Fear will test you.
Orb of Alchemy, let's go. Still here? with it. Those second hits that take to the frenzy charges are so dang strong. I don't know where this chick is. Ugh, just realized it's probably all the way over on the left, and I'm just running over here, but whatever, it's not like that order of alchemy by itself was worth it. Okay, that was tough. Like, you'll see those hits, and the first hit like does next to no damage. That second hit just wrecks. Very confused. I don't think it's small enough to be there. So maybe it's a shoot, but it sucks. Didn't get the check on it, and you can't take it to a waypoint. That needs to change. You should definitely be able to take these to a waypoint. I wonder if it's just an error. Because wouldn't it say... Was it not? I think that would have had an actual quest still. So I'm leaning on the side of this is probably average. Give you a stat or something, and I feel like I already have all those. But we're gonna investigate it first. Ugh. If it was directly down from... Okay. Not exciting. This is the whole thing. Start this ritual. Then nothing happened. Oops. Maybe I should just look at both screens. How the heck is it? Well, I guess I will look that up at some other time. For the sake of, I wanted to show a little boss fight with it, but for the sake of that just this being kind of like a little build guide, I think I'm gonna hop off here. If I discover anything about this math being wrong or why I haven't completed which thing, I will hop back on, but I'm just gonna call it here. So if you watched this whole thing, thank you so much. Consider liking, subscribing, comment, even if you just say, hey, you know, and I'm looking forward to interacting with all of you.